your very own antimatter warp drive engines?
Yeah, probably. I mean, going from 38 atoms to 6 times 10 to the 23 atoms is a pretty hefty jump. and how they're going to do that, I don't know. I don't know if they're even intending to try to do anything of that nature. I suspect right now that the only thing that they have intentions for doing is seeing if they can keep it around for more than a third of a second, keep it around for a few seconds, and see if they can get a few hundred of them. And then once they can do that, seeing if they can test what its spectrum would be. Do a spectroscopy analysis on it, see if it's exactly the same as hydrogen, which is what it should be in theory. It would produce the same K shell and so forth, L shell and M shell, the same excitation orbitals, and everything should be exactly the same, but using positrons and antiprotons instead of protons and electrons. But and they'll test to see if it is the same. I would imagine this is the next step that they're planning on doing.
What's Doc? And John, pardon me for interrupting, but what's the what is? This is the first time I've heard about an antimatter bomb. So what's the theory behind that type of reaction when matter and antimatter meet? I guess is what it is, right?
Right. Well, we do that with positrons and electrons right now, and it releases photons, gamma photons. The same thing would happen if you have a proton and antiproton, but they're 1,800 times more massive, so you'd have 1,800 times more energy than a positron and electron annihilation. And so if you had a gram of that, it would just basically be pure matter to energy conversion in very short order, and it'd be a pretty good sized bomb.
So from a theoretical standpoint, how would you equate that based on what we know now as far as explosion or explosive technology? How would you equate that as far as size?
Oh, I think instead of having to have a few kilograms of plutonium, you would have to have a few grams of plutonium. A few grams of this would be the equivalent of a bomb.
And would you say that it would be like right now it's not as easy to produce, obviously, and it would take a lot of effort in order to be able to store the antiprotons, like you say. So this isn't anything that you see happening in the near future, do you?
No, I imagine they're going to continue to work on it for some time. But like I said, I think their primary interest is to see if it has the same properties as regular hydrogen, which in theory it should, and to see if there's any discrepancy, any difference whatsoever. The other one is, well, okay, maybe it's a fuel source, a potential way of, in the future storing a huge amount of energy in a very small, lightweight volume.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on for a second, and I'm going to say that based on some of the research that I've done, and again, they don't tell us everything. Do you think that they are farther along in this research than they're leading people to believe?
No, I don't. I think that they're looking for other things to do besides the LHC, because they have all this other equipment there that's sitting around sort of not doing anything otherwise. And this uses one of the pre-injectors for the LHC. They target, I think it's nickel that they target a proton beam with, but I'm not certain. And if you get high enough energy proton beam, it will create some antiprotons, and they're able to trap a few of those. Whether they're going to try to mass produce them, Fermilab makes it by the billions, because that's what they run in their ring. They've got two rings, but one of them's protons, the other one's antiprotons, and so they have to have billions of them running into one ring. I don't have the figure for the exact number that they have in there, but it's not just a few.
Right. No, obviously, and I mean that thing is enormous. How big is CERN in comparison to, say, the Fermi Lab particle accelerator?
I think it's about 28 times larger in circumference, something like that. I'm not certain the exact figure. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, but it is significantly larger.
Yes, it's one takes. I think I did a calculation. at freeway speed, it takes about 20 minutes to drive around the full ring at CERN, and I think you could do that in just a minute or two at Fermilab at freeway speeds.
And so what's the advantage? What's the advantage to having a ring so large vice having one that's, let's just say, a mile in circumference vice miles in circumference?
Well, you can only get the magnetic strength large enough to a certain extent, and then you can't get a large enough magnetic field to bend the beam. So what you do instead is you make a larger ring, and you can get the speed up of the beam to where you don't have to bend it quite as much in order to get it go full circle. So that's basically they're limited by the field strength of the magnets as to how much they can bend a high velocity beam of protons or lead nuclei or whatever it is that they're running through the gold like they do at Brookhaven. And so the larger the ring, you get a higher energy beam with the limiting factor being the field strength of your magnets.
Very interesting. And
Joe?
Yes, sir.
Can I squeeze a question in? We're running out of time.
By all means. Sure.
I would like to know, I was intrigued by the fact that they're legally setting in their own country or something close to that.
Yeah, that's
so
incredible.
Switzerland has set them up as their own Vatican. Is the land that they're setting on their land, or is it on Switzerland's land?
Well, it's technically it's within the Swiss nation and a little bit within the French nation, but they have these agreements between CERN and the Swiss country that they are their own sovereign community, and that the laws of Switzerland do not apply there. That they have their own police force and so forth. They don't have, of course, a standing army. And,
what is the name of their country? What is the name? What is that could very well be their country then.
Research. Yeah, that would be their country.
Who owns that?
So I'm not certain if the farm fields that are there probably have ownership interest. They have joint ownership interest, but they have a territorial right to within this fenced, secured region, which is their land, their turf.
They could issue their own postage stamps and money.
Yeah, that's the only thing that they don't really do is they don't print their own money, and they don't, they use the euro. And,
well, don't let's not discount that just yet, gentlemen. I mean, CERN is in its infancy. They could very well start printing money.
It might, yeah. Well,
they'll just back it with antimatter.
The European money, yeah. But they have to. They could issue their
stamps, and stamps would go like hotcakes all over the world to collectors. They could make additional billions on the stamp industry, and also the money.
Don't go giving them ideas.
And they could put the machinery up as collateral to back their money.
Yes, they could.
Yeah.
See that?
And as the money came in from other governments, it would enhance the value of their money.
Yeah.
See, so we're on to something here, and I hope they're not listening into my show tonight, because this would be a tremendous setback for us and Dr. Wagner for sure. But right now we're gonna take a break, and when we come back, folks, we'll continue our conversation with Dr. Wagner. We've got the King's Court coming up, and we'll be taking your calls. So stay tuned. This is Freedomlink Radio on the Intel Hub Network.
In a world where corrupt oppressors and oligarchs have seized control of the populations, total tyranny is amongst us. The burden of humanity rests on our shoulders. The only way out is to expose the global crime syndicate known as the New World Order. Together, we are all one. Together, we are Intel soldiers. The battle for free humanity ensues. Join us in the fight. TheIntelHub.com.
Hi, this is Bob Tuskin. Tune into my show, Truth Be Told Radio, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Join me, Joe Joseph, and my co-hosts, John King and A.C. Griffith, Thursdays and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Freedomlink Radio's Bridging the Gap on the Intel Hub Radio Network.
Did you ever wish that you could have done something while you still had the chance? What will you do if your income ends tomorrow? Or if you lose your home, as many already have? Do you have enough money to survive through an economic depression? If you don't want to gamble with your future, then FreeToProsper.com can help you quickly end your debt problems, protect your property and possessions, and develop a personal strategy to get you through the hard times. Most importantly, you get to keep your money and not pay another cent to creditors. Our program is often superior to bankruptcy, consolidation, or settlement. Visit FreeToProsper.com to find out more. This is your real chance to act ahead, so don't delay. Your future may depend on it. Call 718-615-0123 to learn more. That's 718-615-0123. Or visit FreeToProsper.com today.
Let me you make decisions without your television.
Well, we're back, folks, and what a conversation we have going right now about CERN. I'm telling you, I'm learning more about this stuff than I think I would have ever known, or in some cases, I don't know if I really want to know it, but of course I do, because I don't like to be ignorant about the issues, for sure. But before we get back to our conversation, I believe it's time for our King's Court edition, is it not, John?
Yes, it is. Thanks, Joe. Well, you know, Joe, when I sit down to consult the web butt, sometimes the results can really stink of foul play. For the past week now, the web butt said Sarah Palin's new reality show is a PR campaign by the powers that be to make her better known for a 2012 presidential run. And as it turns out, the web butt may not have been blowing hot air, as RT Today asked a few Americans today, as a matter of fact, that very same question. And oddly enough, 100% of the people polled said, "Oh, hell no." As I sat down today to consult the web butt, here is what it said. There will be another PR campaign involving Sarah Palin as a leader, or a portrayal of her under pressure. Maybe a celebrity edition of Iron Chef America, where the New World Order will serve up some lame duck soup. There will be a study done to get public opinion of her so that they can mold her into Ms. America. The number of SARS parts, in proportionate to the following interpretation, is Sarah Palin will seek out the Republican nomination for President of the United States in 2012. Soon after, there will be a, quote, situation in Moscow, and it will be handled from the I can see Russia from my back porch Sarah Palin, superheroine of the day, to the rescue, making her the Tea Party darling and the NWO madam. Okay, folks, at that point, I don't see a fair election taking place. Oh, there will be an election, but the election will be stacked. Elect Who's Your Daddy Obama, or Can I Take Your Order, Sir Sarah Palin? Who do you think would win? So in this scenario, in my humble opinion, you lose both ways. You either re-elect a socialist psychopath, or you elect a, quote, doll, unquote, for the New World Order to be able to pull her strings. Can you bend over, stick out your tongue, and say, ah? Back to you, Joe.
Thank you, John. And Doc, I'm interested to know what I hear the term God particle. What is God particle, and what does that tell us?